Welcome to Grinding Gears, a podcast for truckers by a trucker. I'm your host, Flowboard. I'm pretty sure some of y'all are asking, well, what the hell is Grinding Gears and who the hell is Flowboard? Well, that's why we have episode one to welcome y'all to the show and to kind of let y'all know what this is going to be about. I am Flowboard. Some of y'all might know me from TikTok as Flowboard 389. Um, haven't been real active there lately, but hope to get back to doing that soon. But anyways, yeah, I'm Flowboard, and what is Grinding Gears? Grinding Gears is a podcast that I thought up. Man, I don't know. I'm gonna say 2 3 months ago. And look, but before I go into this any further, I'm not saying I'm the only one that does this. There are plenty of podcasts out there, there are plenty of YouTube channels out there. There are thousands of other people out there that are doing exactly what I'm going to do. Um, this podcast is going to be, like I said in the beginning, it's a podcast for truckers by a trucker. And basically, what I hope to accomplish with this is once a week, I'm gonna do the research. I'm gonna do the legwork. And my plan is hopefully Sundays tend to be my downtime out here, running the roads. But what I'm going to do, like I said, I'm going to do the research and the legwork, and I'm going to get some stories together, kind of the top stories from the previous week in trucking or top stories in the upcoming week in trucking. And give y'all the news and events out there in the trucking industry. I mean, it could be anything from stuff pertaining to the FMCSA. It could be stuff pertaining to that's going to affect traffic in a certain area. Um, it could be announcing the opening of new truck stops, the closing of truck stops. Basically, it's going to be anything and everything about the trucking industry that, there may be a truck driver out there that needs to know. And what I'm going to do is just try to bring it to y'all in I don't know, a laid back kind of what's how am I trying to explain this? I'm gonna try to bring it to y'all in a way that'll make it feel like we might be sitting on the back deck at somebody's house drinking a couple beers, just having a conversation. Try to bring it to y'all in a real leisurely, relaxed way. I'm gonna tell you right now, there's probably not gonna be any kind of structure to this podcast. I am recording this in my truck. And that's how it's going to be. Like I said, my plans are to do it on Sundays, hopefully have it out to y'all every Monday, and some of them may be short, some of them may be long. Who knows if this thing gains a little bit of traction? I would love to be able to start bringing in some guests. Excuse me, start bringing in some guests. Discussing certain topics or whatever. I may even throw in little bits here and there. If you followed me on TikTok at all, I uh I don't have a whole lot of videos about it, but I do a little bit of cooking in my truck, and man, I might have a recipe from the week that you know, somebody might want to know about. I might throw some recipes out there. Um, I run just a little bit about me real quick. I've been driving 20 years. It'll be 20 years actually this June. Got my CDL, started driving in June of 2005. Uh, Started in the oil field. I am from South Louisiana. Started in the oil field down there, and worked my way up. Got into did flatbed for a while. Did some heavy haul, some oversized, and got into pulling tanker. Oh Lord, oh, time flies when you're having fun, y'all. I think I got into pulling tanker 12ish years ago. Never really did it full time. Be honest with you, when I first started pulling tanker, I hated it with a passion. And the more I did it, the more I started to like it. And I'm gonna tell y'all what now. I don't know if I'd want to do anything else besides pulling tanker. Oh, and be honest with you, pulling tanker will make you a lazy truck driver. But that's a subject maybe for another episode. But anyways, yeah, like I said, my intentions with this show is just to bring y'all some hot topics, hot news, anything that I think somebody might benefit from hearing about. Maybe some things nobody will benefit from hearing about. Like I said, uh, uh, the gig that I'm on right now is it's kind of I can't even really call it regional because we do go all over the country, but I'm on a little dedicated gig right now hauling a chemical out of North Louisiana, and I mean we do go all over the country, but most of my loads do come out of that one facility. Every now and then I'll haul out of a different facility for the same customer, but basically what I haul is a wastewater treatment product. Um, excuse me. I'm gonna apologize right now if the audio on this thing kind of sucks. I am recording this in my truck. I'm just a truck driver in his truck recording a podcast. I don't have all kind of fancy equipment. I am not a professional podcaster. But anyways, yes, I haul. It's a corrosive chemical, but it is used in wastewater treatment, and haul that kind of all over the country. But I may run into something in my travels. Funny story of something I run into. Something serious that I've seen, something that I've noticed that might affect another truck driver that maybe isn't going to make the news. So, like I said, just hopefully turn this into a back porch BS session. Easy listening for you fellow truckers cruising up and down the highways. And I'm gonna throw this out there real quick. You don't have to be a truck driver to listen to this show. We may discuss some things that affect you. If you're a truck driver, that uh what we do hauling freight, whether it be a dry box, reefer, flatbed. I mean, anything that a truck moves affects another industry, another profession, another person. Everything that us as truck drivers do has an effect on somebody further down the line. It's just, I mean, we hear it all the time. We move the stuff that keeps America moving. So, if I see something somewhere in my travels that, maybe wouldn't make the news, but might help another trucker or, whatever, I try to pass that along to y'all in each weekly episode. Um, just for a reference, I am recording this on Sunday, February 23rd. This, like I said, this is the inaugural episode. So, just wanted to jump on here and introduce myself and introduce the show. Kind of let y'all know what to expect. Who knows, man? You might start hearing some guests on here soon. Like I said, never. No, I'm really not 100% sure which way this podcast is gonna go yet. And like I said, this is as real as it gets, man. This is uncut. This is me in my truck recording this. I'm gonna do the research. I'm gonna do the legwork. Try to get the stories together. So so I can hopefully bring y'all an entertaining show here every Monday morning is my plan to drop them. So I do apologize if this episode one isn't the best. Like I said, it's just the introductory episode, more or less feeling out my little setup to seeing if um, the way I'm recording this and gonna try to edit this is all gonna work. But yeah, so I figured just as a little trial run on this episode one, bring a little story, not even a story, no, I mean not even a little story. It's I mean it's basically the the future outlook of the trucking industry as a whole. Figured I'd go ahead and kind of make that the topic of episode one. Uh and I am gonna credit my sources whenever I bring stories, stuff like that. So with that being said, um the projected forecast for trucking is hopefully, if the ATA, which is the American Trucking Association, which is where this report is coming from, um, if their projections are right, y'all, I think we're in for a turnaround right here. if you've been trucking for longer than about 6 days, you know that the last couple of years in trucking has been horrendous. For owner operators, rates have been in the toilet. I mean, it's been complete garbage on rates. Um, for some reason, man, it seems like there's been no freight. I know us as tankers, or myself as a tanker driver, tanker hauler, tanker yanker, whatever the hell you want to call me. Um, Man, I'm gonna tell y'all right now, last year was horrendous. Man, we struggled in the tanking industry last year, and it really makes you wonder because I mean, as a tanker driver, or as a let me not even say as a tanker driver, as a chemical hauler, anybody, not just myself, any one of these chemical hauling companies, tank companies, anything like that. I mean, we really do haul a lot of the stuff that really does keep America moving. And the way it looked last year, man, it was baffling. I mean, we struggled last year. Um, but we have really noticed an uptick so far. I mean, we're only, like I said, 23 days into this 2025. And but with that being said, like I said, we've noticed a massive increase just, so far the beginning of this year. And here's the projection coming straight from the American Trucking Associations. Truck freight to bounce back in 2025, ATA projects. And the ATA released this article on January 16th, 2025. uh just the kind of key talking points of the article. In the latest edition of its annual freight forecast, the American Trucking Association projects that after 2 years of declines, truck volumes are expected to grow 1.6% in 2025 and ultimately rise to nearly 14 billion tons by 2035. The projection comes in ATA Freight Transportation Forecast 2024 to 2035, a joint report by ATA and the S&P Global Market Intelligence. In this edition of the forecast, the trucking industry continues to dominate the freight transportation industry in terms of both tonnage and revenue, comprising 72.7% of tonnage and 76.9% of revenue in 2024, said ATA Chief Economist Bob Costello. He quotes, "We project that market share to hold over the next decade as the country continues to rely on trucking to move the vast majority of freight." Other key findings in ATA's Freight Transportation Forecast 2024 to 2035 include total truck tonnage will rise from an estimated 11.27 billion tons in 2024 to 13.99 billion tons in 2035. Over that same period, trucking industry revenues will grow from an estimated 906 billion to 1.46 trillion dollars, accounting for 76.8% of the freight market by the end of the forecast period. Y'all, that I know that is subject to change tomorrow, but that gives me hope because that is the first time in over 2 years that I've seen anybody be optimistic that the trucking industry is finally turning around and possibly heading in the right direction. Excuse me. Like I said, the last 2 years, the last year especially, has been horrendous. Um, for like I said, for owner operators, I personally know several owner operators that lost their businesses. I mean, they had to sell their trucks, they had to get out of trucking, they had to go back to being company drivers. The last 2 years have not been friendly to owner operators. The last 2 years haven't been friendly to anybody. I mean, trucking companies, company drivers, a subject that I'll touch in another podcast, about the only people that the trucking industry has been friendly to in the last 2 years is brokers. Like I said, I'll touch that that's a whole nother podcast subject is brokers, but we'll touch on that in another podcast. But y'all, we have to be optimistic. We we got to tough it out if we can. Um, I mean, I'm by no means, I am not one of these people that sit here and sing the praise of the truck driver. I am mighty truck driver. Um, the I'm not one of those people. Yes, I do fully believe the statement that truck drivers are what keeps America moving. Without truck drivers, there's nothing. I mean, um, y'all gonna have to excuse me when I have to constantly clear my throat. Um, I uh, I was a 20 plus year smoker, and I've just recently quit. And one thing I guess they don't tell you when you quit smoking is when your body starts trying to clear itself out. You develop a different form of a smoker's cough trying to, I don't know, it's weird. But anyways, like I said, y'all excuse me on that. Maybe once I get a little more fancy and get some different equipment, maybe I can edit those out. But like I said, for right now, this is kind of uncut. But anyways, y'all, I'm telling you, we have to be optimistic. It looks like things are moving in the right direction. Um, is it going to happen overnight? No. Like I said, uh, my my company in particular, just a little touch on that. I am not an owner operator. I do drive for an owner operator that has two trucks leased to the same company. I drive one of them. But the company that we're leased to, I mean, since the first of the year, we have seen a massive increase in work. Are we are we where we were a couple years ago? Absolutely not. Are we moving in the right direction? We absolutely are. And I truly hope that there's other companies and other drivers, company drivers, owner operators alike. I truly hope there's a lot of y'all out there that are seeing the same things. I mean, we are truly noticing a massive difference, even from the end of last year to the beginning of this year. So, this report from the ATA, I mean, it has to keep us optimistic. Um, Kind of reading through the report right here, and it kind of touched on some things about uh, how rail freight, excuse me, rail freight is actually going to decrease because more people are moving stuff by truck. Just like I said, kind of reading through it, man, everything in the article is optimistic, but you have to understand, like, their projection is over the next 10 years. So if we hit what they're projecting, it's going to be a slow climb, but as long as it can be a steady uphill climb, I think we can make it through. Unfortunately, I do fear that there's still going to be some people that are going to fall before this completely turns around. And that's why I say we can't quite relax just yet, just my opinion. Can we start to breathe a little easier? I think so. We still kind of got to watch things for a little while, y'all. It hopefully we are 100% truly moving in the right direction with this. Um, trucking has afforded me a fairly good life over the last 20 years. There's definitely been some up and downs when I was in the all field. Um, but for the most part, trucking has afforded me and my family a pretty good life, and I would love for that to continue. And I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. Towards the end of last year, I didn't know how much longer trucking was going to be able to afford anything for me. And say it's made a turnaround so far. I hope it keeps going in that direction. Um, Another quick topic that I'm gonna go ahead and touch on this week. At first, I wasn't sure if I was going to, but you know what? Screw it. We're gonna. we're going to touch on it because I know this is I know this is a very very controversial topic throughout the trucking industry and just throughout the country in general. But we are going to talk about Nikola or however the hell you pronounce the name of that company. Um, they were basically, I guess, trying to be a Tesla. Um, oh Lord, y'all, I'm having a brain fart right here. Competitor. They were. It was the electric vehicle maker Nikola, and I don't know if anybody has seen this report, but I figured it's worth touching on a little bit. This report is from February 19th, so this report is just from 4 days ago. And it is a troubled electric vehicle maker, Nikola, files for bankruptcy protection. And I'm going to tell y'all right now, I don't know who didn't see this coming. Um, eh, I mean, and I know some people are going to pop back and say, well, look at Tesla, whatever. To be honest with you, Tesla's not doing all that great with their cars right now, much less their semis. I don't know exactly how many Tesla semis are out there on the road, but you don't hear anything good about them. Um, so, like I said, I know this is a very controversial topic. But anyways, just some key points about this article, real quick. It says, troubled electric vehicle maker Nikola has filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy protection months after saying that it would likely run out of cash early this year. Nikola was a hot startup and rising star on Wall Street before becoming enmeshed in scandal, and its founder was convicted in 2022 for misleading investors about the Arizona company's technology. And basically, what that is I think I I would assume probably a lot of people have heard that story. The founder Trevor Milton. Basically, what started it all was they released a um oh like a commercial um video, and it was showing one of their trucks going down the road, and I don't know if it was a whistleblower or leaked information or how it was discovered, but it was discovered that the truck was actually not a functioning truck. It was a truck with a driver in it that was pushed down a hill, and they videoed it just rolling down the hill and made it made it look like the truck was moving under its own power. And anyways, the it all came to light. There was big hearing. The owner was actually the founder, Trevor Milton, was actually sentenced to 4 years in prison, and he had some big fines. I can't remember what the fines were, but the reason I'm bringing up this topic, just a couple more key points on it, real quick. It says, the company had difficulty scaling its business, which mostly focused on EV trucks. It says Nikola produced 83 trucks, but recorded a net loss of almost 200 million. Um, that's pretty. That says a lot about what everybody has been saying. These EVs are not cost effective, man. Like, not for the manufacturers that make them, and not for the people that are buying them. Um, they filed for bankruptcy protection. There was a point in here that, man, I can't find it now. You see, this is what happens when you have the incredible proper planning that I have. You can't find anything that you're looking for on this point. Um, but basically, wait, the basically the point I was trying to find was it was tied into a thing going on in Washington right now. And when I say Washington, I mean Washington State. Here it is right here. So tying into this Nikola going bankrupt, right now in the state of Washington, there's a thing going on with they're calling it SB 5091, Senate Bill 5091. And it is a Republican backed proposal that would sever Washington state ties to California's strict vehicle emissions rules. And basically, what it is it goes into the emission standards of California. And I just, again, the California emission standards is a whole nother podcast topic. But the point that I wanted to tie into the Nikola going bankrupt with the EV semis is this was a couple quotes from what's going on in Washington that relates to the EV trucks. So it says Class 8 trucks cost about $300,000 today. They can work 8 to 10 hours a day on a tank of fuel. Um, oh, okay. Class 8 trucks cost about $300,000 today, and they can work 8 to 10 hours a day on a tank of fuel. An EV truck, on the other hand, costs almost double that, coming in at around $560,000, and operates half the miles due to its charge requirements. So for most companies, they would now have to have two trucks to do the work of one. Under California's clean air rules, the price of an EV truck could skyrocket even further than that. So, going back to the Nikola going bankrupt, when these things came out, I think majority of people was like, yeah, that's not gonna work. You had the super green people, the save the environment, and look, don't think I'm somebody that doesn't care about the environment. I very much care about the environment, but at a certain point, you have to be realistic. And you know, um, these EV trucks, they weigh. The same article right here talking about the weight. They're 10,000 pounds heavier than a standard semi because of the batteries and the electric motors to run them. So you're hauling less freight down the road. It costs twice as much, and you can go half the distance as a diesel vehicle. Now, with that being said, y'all, I am not advocating for emissions. I drive a glider kit. My truck does not have emissions. My truck is not tuned where it blows the black smoke everywhere. No, nobody freak out and come at me because I drive an evil diesel vehicle with no emissions. I don't advocate for emissions. I think emissions have ruined the trucking industry. But these electric vehicles, man, they were back, lack of a better term, they were a failure from the start. You know, it was known right away they could only go half the distance. They weigh, like I said, 10,000 pounds more, so you're not hauling as much freight. If I have to give them a prop, their performance was pretty impressive. The amount of weight they could pull, the speeds at which they could do it, I can't lie, they were impressive, but they were not sustainable. And it this whole Nikola going bankrupt thing, they're kind of trying to make it out, to be a big deal when it's kind of like, I think everybody kind of saw it coming. Tesla, I don't know, that needle in the haystack of luck, and like I said, Tesla's not doing, honestly, they're not doing that great right now. Yeah, you still have your people that, would probably live and die by Tesla in their electric cars, but I mean, you see it all the time. Just look at Facebook. All the trouble they have, out in California with those electric Tesla semis. I don't know how many of them are out there running around, but I know there's a few. And you hear all the time, you know, they're having trouble with them. The batteries are dying. Not to mention the cost of the replacement batteries or whatever when it comes to that point. Look at the batteries themselves. What was it here a month or two ago? out in the West, California. I think it was California, maybe Arizona, maybe in there was one in Nevada. I think I'll have to go back and do some good hardcore research. But we had 4 or 5 semi fires involving those lithium ion batteries. That's the same thing that's in a Tesla. That's the same thing that Nikola had in theirs, is these lithium ion batteries. And I mean, there was one of them, they had to evacuate people because of the fumes coming off of these batteries that were burning. Fire departments talk about their Tesla cars when they catch fire, and how much more difficult it made their job because they're not equipped to fight these battery fires. Like, it just kind of goes back to what I'm saying. Like, everybody kind of called it off the jump that these EVs were not the solution. Another podcast that I listened to, I'm not going to drop any names on it right now, but they've discussed a couple times about how things are in other countries around the world, and not basically, predominantly out in like the Europe region, I guess we'll call it, um, where they don't have near the emissions standards that we have. What they did over there is they focused on horsepower and fuel mileage, and the emissions took care of themselves. And over here it was all about the emissions, and we've ruined trucks. We've ruined, not we as in us. I mean, the the government and their overreach of these emissions regulations, they've ruined the reputation of truck manufacturers because of these emissions, and these emissions are absolutely killing trucks. But I'm a firm believer in, I've heard this a couple times, if the US would have done the same thing other countries would have done, focused on horsepower and fuel mileage, the emissions would have sorted themselves out, and we'd never even be having this discussion about electric vehicles. And look, don't get me wrong. If you're someone that lives in one of these big cities, Los Angeles, Chicago, New York, and you have a 5 mile commute to work every day, Monday to Friday, and whatever, and you have an electric vehicle to zip around town and commute back to work, and I think they're perfect for that. But you hear people that try to take these vehicles on road trips, and how much longer it takes because you have to stop at charging stations, and how long it takes to charge one, and then you try to scale that up into a semi. There's a reason why none of these semis are running across the country. There's a reason why none of these semis are doing OTR, because what that shipping company, what that trucking company would have to charge their customer to uh oh shoot, what's the word I'm looking for, y'all? I'm having another brain fart right here. I'm gonna have this a lot. Simple man, simple mind. Um Basically, like, what a trucking company would have to charge you to make up for the extra in how long it's going to take that driver to get to you, because he's going to have to stop and charge his semi truck. That's going to take a while. It's not like me where I could pull up to a fuel island and in 10 minutes I've topped off the tanks and I'm back on the road. You know, they have to account for charging time, less distance between charges than what I can go on fuel ups. The trucking company's not going to eat that cost. They're going to pass that cost on. Well, guess where that cost goes when they pass it on to their customer? Then their customer passes it on to the next person, which may be another customer or maybe us as the consumer. So, to go back to the beginning on these EV trucks, they're twice as much to purchase as a regular semi. They're twice as much to maintain and operate as a regular semi. And by the time it's said and done, it's going to increase the cost of what us as a consumer uses because of what the trucking company is going to charge or add on to their charges to accommodate for all this extra money they're spending. Again, I think everybody saw this coming when all this EV semi stuff started. So, um, but yeah, those are just two little topics that I figured I'd touch on for this week in episode one. Like I said, just a little taste of maybe what you can expect from this podcast. Oh, another thing I wanted to touch on real quick. About a week ago, or a little over a week ago, um, in Green River, Wyoming, there was a absolutely horrific crash in the westbound tunnel in the Green River Tunnel in Wyoming. Three people unfortunately lost their lives in that in that incident. My thoughts, prayers, my condolences, my heart goes out to the family of those three victims. Um, but what I wanted to touch on for my trucking family out there, as of I believe on Thursday, they have reopened the eastbound lanes of I-80 through the tunnel, and they are doing what is called a one-lane head-on traffic situation, which is east and westbound are flowing one-lane traffic through the eastbound tunnel. There's I believe a 10-foot six with restriction in place, and there is a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit restriction in place through the tunnel. Like I said, it's one lane head-on traffic, which means, like I said, east and westbound are flowing one lane each direction in the eastbound lanes. Guys, gals, anywhere's in general, but especially in that area, traffic is being squeezed into one lane through an already very tight tunnel. Now you have a concrete wall in the middle, which has made some very tight lanes of travel. Guys and gals, please, please, please respect that speed limit. Respect the danger that is there. Take your time through that tunnel. Like I said, that incident that happened a week ago was absolutely horrific. Um, if I haven't fully read all the reports on it yet, but kind of from what I understand, it was avoidable. So, guys, gals, truckers, just anybody out there, if you are traveling in that area, please respect that area, respect the restrictions that are in place, uh, as to not have another situation like that happen. They are actively working on the westbound side to try to get it back open. I don't know. I haven't seen any reports yet or any estimates of how long it'll take to reconstruct that westbound tunnel and get it back open. If I hear anything, I will let people know. I know there's a lot of truck traffic on I-80 in that area. So, like I said, I-80 is reopened in Green River, Wyoming. It is one-way head-on traffic. 10-foot six with restriction, 35-mile-an-hour speed restriction. Please, please, please follow those restrictions. Respect it. Take your time through there. Let's not have another incident like that in that area. Um, but anyways, y'all, I guess we're gonna go ahead and wrap this one up here. Like I said, this gave y'all just a little taste of what to expect. I am already working on a couple of topics for next week, but I'm going to keep an eye on all my little news sources during the week, and make sure I stay up to date with the latest in news and information that I think y'all need to hear out there in the trucking world. Um, so with that being said, I'm gonna wrap this one up here, and we will hopefully catch y'all again next Sunday. Like I said, my plan is to try to get one recorded every Sunday, drop it every Monday. That way, if you're so inclined, you can start your Monday off getting updated on a couple of news topics for the week. Um, you know, just whatever kind of get your week started. So with that being said, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, truckers and truckettes, everyone be safe out there. Um, watch out for the four wheelers. Watch out for the weather. We are still in this time of the year where we're still catching the storms, the winter storms throughout the country. Everyone be careful, keep it shiny side up, and we will catch y'all on the flip.